Welcome, High Valley Sports Online, bringing you the Coaches Show from Bennigan. First coach up, Reno Suckots, sponsored by Fort Steuben Maintenance. Let Coach finish his soup here. We're going to talk to him while he's eating.
No, I'm ready.
Coach.
You guys pay me big money, so I can't be eating well.
Dan Vogel pays top dollar. Okay, Coach, 3 weeks of football. This is me, your brother Ray Suckarch, along with Coach Steve Daly, just up from Wheeling College practice, and Reno coming from practice, so me and Dan's the only one well-rested. And fed, absolutely. Coach, 3 weeks of high school football, 3 wins for you. Impressive win. Everything I know about football, Coach, I learned from you, and I know it warmed your heart seeing how your offensive and defensive line played.
Well, to tell you the truth, it warmed my heart just the way our whole team played. Those that needed to be physical were physical. Those that needed to be disciplined and have disciplined eyes did that. And those that needed to run the game ran the game. And everybody did their job and did their job to the maximum effort. And maximum effort covers up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Me and Steve talked about it the entire game, how it was like Big Red played well offensively, defensively, special teams, didn't react to a lot of emotional situations. Just a good football game and a good win against a good team.
They were a really, really good team that I think that if you play a normal game of football against them, they're going to give you a lot of trouble. And they gave us trouble. And we played a game that we've been practicing for 3 weeks against them. And I just think that maybe we caught them off guard a little bit. We used our sideline to the maximum. And, most of the game took place, most of the offensive game took place on our sideline. And that's exactly what we wanted.
I'm sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead. Well, going into the game, Coach, okay, and again, Ray and I talked about on the radio, how do you neutralize speed? You go right at it, and you came out and you started the game going right at it. But is there anything in particular that you saw leading into the game that you could capitalize on? Because there were a couple wrinkles you threw at them, too.
When you first look at them, you think about speed. But they not only had speed, they had big bodies inside. So running at speed is right, but running at big bodies, we just couldn't give them a break. Mm-hmm. And that's why we tried to keep the ball on our hash as much as we could, because it didn't allow them to substitute. When they did, we were able to catch them with a 5-yard penalty.
Right.
But our game was to run to our sideline and keep the runs there, and try to keep Phaeton throwing, to the wide side of the field when we wanted to get there. So when we did get to the other hash, we huddled up and, had a normal offense. But we just felt that if we continue to run our inside game, then our outside game in the second half would be more successful. And that's when we ran the reverses and did some different things outside.
Right.
They're a good football team, Coach. They play in that inner city league up there. You're familiar with that league. They could get us some wins and help us playoff-wise if we need it, right?
They have, their coaches, the guys that we went against, I've known for years. They were at Dunbar. They were at Woodrow Wilson. They were at Woodson. We've been playing them for 20 years off and on. And they just they're good guys, man. They're good guys. They work hard, and they're going to win some games. They just I just think that we caught him off guard. He didn't. You play them 10 times. You play them in a regular game of football. It's going down to the wire. And our kids knew, and we're convinced. We talked about it the whole time. You're not going to win this game in the first 3 quarters. You got to keep us close. Keep us close in fourth quarter. Something will happen. But a funny thing that we talked about after the game. We went to work on Obama right after the game, and halfway through Obama, our film was up on Huddle, so we worked on that. But if we didn't fumble going in on that 30-yard line in the first half, we would have gone a complete half with them having the ball only one series, and we were still losing 8-7.
Right,
so
right.
That's how things go. But if we didn't have that and that fumble came on first down, and on the 30-yard line, and like I said. There was, I think, 4 minutes and some seconds ago, and we were just trying to drain that clock and score as close to 0 as we can. But that fumble allowed them to have their second series, and like I said, that was sort of thinking going down the ramp. We feel like we dominated this game. We had the ball for 17 and a half minutes, and they had it for 6 minutes, and we're losing 8-7. But that was the plan. The plan wasn't to lose, but the plan was to try to keep it, within reach until the fourth quarter.
Well, you did that. Me and I got a chance to go in the locker room before the game, and I saw the intensity, in particular the offensive lineman and Cam Daly. I mean, I was impressed with his attitude going in. He came out very emotional, and you drove the ball. I don't know if you threw a pass on the.
We threw one on that first and 25. No, it was second 25 after the illegal block, the chop block. Mm-hmm. We got penalized, and we threw a waggle right after that play that Smitty caught from Peyton Hill, and he took it down to about inside the 15-yard line. Then
I remember that play.
Down, and we got the first down and went from there.
Smitty made a nice catch on that. But my point being the fact that you took 9 minutes off the clock on the drive. And then
16 rushes and one pass.
And then they get the ball and they respond. And I said, holy moly.
Right, here we go, right?
Yeah, so that was a different out. But you played well defensively. Your kids ran to the ball, and they tackled. They tackled in space. And
Coach, I thought two real big moments in that game. I thought, how your defense stepped up and responded after the half, because like you said, they go into the half, they got an 8-7 lead. You fumbled away to them, you stop them right before the half, but they're getting the ball to start the second half, and your defense came out and forced the 3 and out in that series, and the fourth down that you went for, deep in your own territory.
But I don't think I think but them sending their punt team on the field allowed us to run that fourth down because they're not in the game for a reason. They're not the best defensive players.
Right.
But still, it took an accurate pass and a very good catch along that sideline. But we still, we had faith in our defense, and plus, I had any time when people grade football players, they grade them in all areas. When people grade the quarterback, they grade him on how many passes he threw, how many completed, how many were intercepted, how many But they don't grade the breaking of the huddle, everybody being on the same page, the no huddle, making sure the cadence is straight, and they didn't grade him giving guys water with the wrong defense, And so the quarterback's the only one. The quarterback and the head coach get graded in the separate, on a separate form than everybody else. But we run offensively. We did a lot of different things, and we told them before the game we're going to have a couple motion penalties. We're going to have a couple pre-snap penalties, but we can't have 5. Mm-hmm. We can allow ourselves 2. We can allow ourselves another penalty, 3 penalties on offense. But any more than that, then you're giving yourself trouble. And we did have 2 offsides, and we had that chop block that were major, but they were all in the first half. In the second half, we didn't have any penalties. Right.
That's impressive. That's a big cut down, and I like that, not getting into a habit of hurting yourself.
Yeah. Well, when you hurt yourself, you really self-inflicted wounds are suicidal. But
your defense played well, Coach, this year. Your defense giving up 8 points, I believe, on the year. Kids are running to the football, playing with a lot of enthusiasm. Your running backs are running hard. Your receivers are catching the football.
It's just an attitude. Our kids are like today. Today we had our best passing offense of the year. And I think that Saturday brought confidence out of our team, and I think we're confident in what we're doing. That doesn't mean we don't have to bring our A game every week, but good practices sometimes cause good games. And I'm not saying every time you have a great practice you're going to have a great game, because things vary on your opponent has something to do with Friday. But we had a good day today, and I just think that I think that this group of players had a great attitude since January, and we had a great Maymester. We had a great June and July. We had good, and two-a-days flew. I mean, I never was involved in two-a-days that went so fast. I mean, only 8 days of two-a-days. That's sort of close to ridiculous. But then we had a couple nice scrimmages, and right now, and I think defensively, Coach Fields, we've installed a new defense, and I think it's his. He feels ownership in it. He's confident in everything he does, and I think that's important.
Coach, now something a little different for you to prepare for this week, going from a Saturday game to a Friday game. You're used to, every Friday. When I was at Central, some weeks we go from Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Friday.
That's hard going back and forth. Yeah.
Yes, but something, it's a little bit out of the ordinary for your team.
Well,
how do you approach that this week?
Well, we gave them Friday. We gave them Monday off. We just came in and watched film on Monday. We swam on Sunday. Came in and watched film Monday, and then Tuesday was Monday, and today was Tuesday, and tomorrow will be Wednesday, right. And I think right now our kids are just excited to get back on the field, and I think after you play a good game like we did, you want to get back there quick.
Right.
And after a loss, you're just sort of dragging that week, and that's why it's so much harder to prepare after a loss than it is after a win, because everything's mental right now. I tell our players, you can't get bigger before Friday, you can't get stronger before Friday. Right. But you can be mentally prepared before Friday, and that's what we're working on right now, just mental. Everything's mental right now, and we're maintaining our strength by our weight room and maintaining conditioning. But I don't think that we run a lot after practice, but we try to keep an up-tempo practice the whole time, and I think that's football conditioning, not running sprints. I think running sprints is almost like a punishment,
right.
And but I think that you can practice at a fast pace, and I think we do a really good job of fast pacing our offense and defensive practice. The worst part of our practice today was we spent 20 minutes on extra point. That's close to ridiculous, but that's what it took.
Right.
Okay, Ohio Valley Sports Online, Coach's Show from Bennigan's first half segment coming to a close here, brought to you by Fort Steuben Maintenance, who sponsors the Reno Show, but we'll be right back.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance. Thanks a lot for following us at Ohio Valley Sports Online. Why not visit our webpage at OhioValleySportsOnline.com. It's the way to go for sports fans around the globe to follow your favorite local sports teams. Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online. Thanks, Fort Steuben Maintenance, for sponsoring Big Red head football coach Reno Suckoch on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Being a teenager is tough. There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do Ohio's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play! Yeah!
Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Meet Josh.
Hi, everybody.
Josh is a high school basketball player, solid shooter, great teammate.
Hey, don't forget my tenacious D.
And he's my son.
Uh-huh.
So, what does Josh do to be the best basketball player he can be?
I play tennis.
Studies show that student athletes here in Ohio who play more than one high school sport are more likely to excel. Tennis does more than improve Josh's conditioning. It gives him a fresh competitive outlet, reduces the risk of injury by cross-training, and introduces him to different coaching techniques and new friends.
Don't get me wrong, hoops are my first love. Tennis just gives me a little break.
You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890.
We're back here at Bennigan's with the Coaches Show here. Fort Steuben Maintenance sponsors Reno Suckaunch here, Coach of Big Red. And at this time, before we go any further, I want to pass on our condolences to Najon Robinson family. A young man died unexpectedly this past week, and everybody here at Ohio Valley Sports Online sends our condolences, as well as the Big Red family.
What a kid, man. What a good kid and good young man. He was a great leader when he played for us. He started as a junior, played in one of the games that I consider one of our comeback games against Clinton Massey in our stadium. And, we had suffered through some tough times. And, I'm saying that 11, 12, 13, and 14. And we won 2 regional titles. But I just felt that was a big game for us. And he had an outstanding game. That's what I remember him as a kid. But if you tell me to pick one game, that's the one game I would pick.
Well, I knew you'd want to comment on that, and I brought that up. That was brought to my attention today in a meeting that we had about him, and I saw a picture of him, and boy, his smile stood out. But anyway, moving forward, Coach, week 4. You got Obama Academy from Pittsburgh. Tell us about him.
Well, I was just telling Coach Daly, they got some really, really good athletes. I think that we're going to have to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, because they have a really good running back. In fact, the one we played against, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Is your starting tailback now?
Would have been
a sophomore or junior.
No, he's a senior for us now. Yeah.
Well, we've been playing them for 5 or 6 years, and they have that coach. Coach Berry does a good job of they're a school made up of Peabody, Shenley, and Fifth Avenue. And you know what kind of athletes they have when they came to play basketball against Central and Big Red. Pittsburgh Fifth Avenue always had players and athletes. So now they're all combined, and he does a really, really good job. And he opens up with some tough teams, and then when he gets in the city, him, Westinghouse, and Alderdice, I mean, they have a good get after it party for about 5 or 6 weeks, and.
Hey, dude, that's a solid inner-city league.
Oh, it is.
That they have, kind of like Akron City.
Carrick's down a little bit, but when you take Obama and then you take Alderdice and then Westinghouse, I mean, I've been following Westinghouse since I was a junior in high school, and They humiliated us in a game, and
You can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
you can be sure of it wasn't.
That was the commercial for that.
Wesley Garnett was their tailback. He went to Notre Dame, and I don't know what happened to him after that, but
Wasn't Pete D'Imperio their coach?
he was their coach, and he was the only coach they had. And they had a nose tackle. I can't remember. I bet Frankie Spence would remember his name. He went to Pitt. So Westinghouse has always been good.
Yeah, I mentioned to you before we started, Coach, that Cy Ali's the running back that we have that went to Obama, and he was in the stretch line today. And I mentioned to him, I said, Cy, your old squad plays my son's squad this week, and he said, oh yeah, Big Red, he knows, he remembers, and he said, don't underestimate us, Coach. He said we got some athletes, and
they're
I'm sure
they're well coached too.
Yes, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you can ever underestimate anybody that has the potential to put that big play on you at any time. And that was a fear that I had going back against the last opponent you played, Archbishop Carroll, when it was 8-7. I said, wow, if they get that big guy loose on the outside, that might be trouble. So Obama has that kind of threat coming at us?
Well, they have a really good running back, and they have a quarterback that's very elusive. We just have to. Our defensive line just has to take. Our front three people have to take care of from C to C. C gap to C gap, tight end to tight end, and let everybody else handle the outside. But those three people and one of whatever linebackers left in the box have to handle the inside part of the game. And speaking of Coach Daly, we got a lot of this defense from Wheeling College, and Coach Bruni was nice enough to let us pick the defensive coordinator apart. I mean, he came up there 3 or 4 times. We went down there, and he really helped us. And then we met with Bo Pelini 2 or 3 times, and then we put their package together along with what we like to do, and that's how we came up with our defense.
Well, your defense, as I look at it, personnel-wise, every single position can run to the ball. And I was most impressed with that defensively. The linebackers went to the ball. They swarmed to the ball. The defensive line had good lateral movement, and your secondary played pretty solid against some good athletes.
We had one breakdown in the secondary, but the pass was incomplete on that 4th down play. They threw the incomplete pass in that east corner and northeast corner. That was a breakdown. But if you notice, we only have one lineman's number in the defensive lineup, and that's our nose tackle. And our backup nose tackle, 73 and 52, are the only ones that have 50, 60, or 70 numbers on. And we just feel that that's what we needed. And that's been our Achilles heel. Really, the 2 things, and I've said this a couple times, that we went into the season wanting to perfect and wanting to improve on more than anything is our kickoff coverage and our broken play from the quarterback. And we work on that every day. We work on that quarterback, not on design plays, on the plays where things break down and he runs. And we're trying to do a better job with our one remaining linebacker and not attacking him, but having him come to him.
Well, Coach, last week, Carroll kind of switched things up from more conventional sets to spread, back and forth. What do you expect to see with this Obama team?
A lot of the same, but Archbishop Carroll was more tight end dominating. When they had a tight end of the game, they ran to him. Going into the 3 games we broke down last year and their 1 game this year, 96% of the time, that's no kidding, ran to the tight end. So that was a big indicator for us. And when there was no tight end, then it was going to the boundary. And so that's how we called our defenses. We got in a little bit of a wrinkle when 7 was split out, and then the next time he was a tight end.
Right.
So we had to call a couple of things where we could check off, but our kids handled it well. And sometimes when you call the wrong defense, if everybody's on the same page, you should still have every gap covered,
Right.
So, if you call red and it's black or black and it's red, or you erase it with white out, as long as everybody's on the same page, you got a shot. Whether even if you're slanting, if you're wanting to slant to the tight end and they call it the wrong way, as long as everybody's slanting and with the correct technique, then you're still going to have it defended, just not as good.
Right.
All right, Coach, I want to thank you for your time here. We appreciate you coming over. High Valley Sports Online, live from Bennigan's. Coach Reno Suckoch of the Steubenville Big Red, brought to you by Fort Steuben Maintenance. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Coach.
I like to end all the time by saying good luck to Andrew. And he must not have worked very hard at practice because his hair is all combed.
Looks good. Andrew Corner looks good.
Nice shirt on, nice smile. Good luck, Andrew.
All right, Coach, thank you. We'll be right back with Coach Andrew Corner from Indian Creek High School.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance. Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Everhart Bow Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bow ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bow Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bow Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. you'll be
Everhart Bove Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bove ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bove Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bove Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Okay, we're back here at Bennigan's Coaches Show, brought to you live by High Valley Sports Online here with Andrew Conner, head coach Indian Creek Redskins, brought to you by Everhart Bove Funeral Home. Coach, tough loss. I watched the game till about the middle of the third. It was 7-7, playing tough. I want to blame it on youth.
I just think we ran out of gas. I wouldn't think it's anything more than, I think at the end there, we gave up, a scoring drive. I thought we fought hard on that scoring drive. I thought that, we had them at 4th and 3. They ended up getting a first down, 1st and goal from the 2, and they ended up scoring. And the last score they got on us, we were trying to send the house to try to make something happen, and it eventually come back to burn us, and they broke for a long run. But I thought our kids played hard, and
They did.
I think we're becoming a more physical football team. I think that I think the kids are starting to understand what we're trying to do, and that's all you can ask your kids to do is play hard. I told them after the game I was proud of how they played, and if it comes down to X's and O's or different things like that, I mean that's just part of us maturing as a team. But the way we play, that's on us and on who we are right now, and I think that's what we're getting better at is who we are, and I think we're trying to find an identity, and that's what we're doing.
Okay, that's kind of what I meant by the youth factor, still looking to find yourself for these younger kids. You got a young team, and me and you talked about earlier, just about the fact of how good it makes you feel as a coach that your kids are playing hard, and your kids played hard, and I thought that was obvious. But that was a rivalry game, and Brooke played hard too.
He did, and I give credit to Brooke. I think I've said this before. I think Coach McLean, he's been there a long time now. He understands the rivalry between the two schools, and I think his kids played hard. I think it was a good, hard-fought football game, and we just needed something to go right for us. We just couldn't get that play. We couldn't get the big turnover. We did get one early in the first quarter, but it just seemed like we kind of stalled ourselves out on both sides of the ball a little bit, and and they were able to get a couple big plays, and that ended up being the result of the football game.
Okay, now I'm on. Okay, so Andrew, again, you're 3 weeks into the season. We know, you're in a situation right now where you are playing some young kids, and I know that I have those kids in class, and good. The biggest thing I notice right now with them, great attitudes, But through 3 weeks, what would be one thing right now that you see that is kind of a pleasant surprise to you? Something that you didn't expect coming into the season, and now you're looking after 3 weeks and say, well, wow, we can do this pretty well. Is there anything you can really pinpoint?
I think, if you look at it from the standpoint of looking at both sides of the ball, I think, offensively, we've run the ball better than maybe I thought, only because, it's easy to teach kids that are younger to pass block because basically you got to sit in your seat and you can guide guys around. But I thought, we've executed getting off the ball, and that's great for us because, I want to run the football. So, I think just how hard we've played coming off the ball, running the ball. And I really think defensively it is, our run fits. I thought we'd give up more big plays only because, we'd be excited and kids would want to make big plays. And in doing so, how that is. You get two guys in one gap, or you get a guy who comes on a blitz he's not supposed to, or doesn't come on a blitz when he is. I thought, defensively we've grown each week. I think, in the first game, Cambridge did a really good job of confusing us. And, then we played Liverpool, and I thought physically we're pretty stout against them. And then I told our defense, we had 5 3-and-outs against Brooke. And, if you'd have told me in week 3 with the, just us coming and doing different things that we'd have 5 3-and-outs, I would have said, I'd take that in a heartbeat. So, I see positives, I do. And, really the only negative that I see right now is just, us sometimes getting our own way. It's not for lack of effort. I told the kids after the Brooke game, I was proud to be head football coach because I thought on representing Indian Creek and our values of playing hard and playing tough and playing together, they did that. All check marks. I just think our thing is just the inconsistency of, one good play, one bad play, and then the bad plays sometimes for us, they really stand out at this point.
Right.
I think that's a big emphasis, Coach. You say that. I think that's easier said than done for young kids to put good plays back to back to back to back, and we're talking about consistency. How's the practice going this week after the loss?
Good. I thought, our kids came on, and I think they understand, again, we're back into rivalry week because, we play a ton of teams that would be our rivals. I mean, we're High and us have played,
forever.
And, and last year we had a hard-fought game against them, and we've been playing back and forth, and I think the kids know each other. And again, week to week, we give a scouting report, but those guys know those kids. It's not like you're giving a scouting report and they've got to wonder, like, who's who or what. They know each kid before we give them the scouting report. So I think they know how important it is, just for us, the sake of you don't want to lose 2 in a row. I mean, as you're trying to find all this thing and trying to put this together, we don't want to have any extended losing streaks. We want to get back to winning. But again, so does Weirton. Weirton's coming off a tough loss at John Marshall, where they played really hard. So, when you look at it, I think from a standpoint of a fan, I think you're coming to see a really good football game between two schools that have played each other for a long time, and they both schools want to run the football. Both schools hit hard. Both schools play hard. So, I think Frank does a great job at Weirton. And, I think, if you want to do something on a Friday night to see a good football game, I think you're going to see kids that are going to really try to, right the ship on both ends of this, whether it's Weirton or us.
Well, I think that's pretty neat. You talk about, like, every week is a rivalry for you. Just like you said, your kids are going to play hard, but so is the other team. So I think that's a pretty interesting endeavor to have rivalries week after week after week. Not too many schools have that, but when you think about it, your schedule does look like that, rivalry after rivalry, and the long history ones. I mean, and I like that. I like it a lot.
It does. For me, I think it always is one of those things that it brings more people to games. I think, when kids are playing in front of crowds that are on both ends of it, even though the other crowd may hurt you at times because of the noise or whatever, it's still better to play inside of a stadium that's packed. And I think, we opened with Cambridge, who's become a rivalry of ours. I mean, we've opened with them 7 straight years on the Buckeye North with us. Then playing East Liverpool has been a long-standing rival for Indian Creek for forever. Then we play Brook, which is a long-standing rivalry going all the way back to Wintersville. Right. And now we play Weirton in the same boat. So, it kind of helps you at practice, too, because, you don't want to get beat by a rival. And so we're coming off a loss, so they're energized right away. We go to practice on Monday because they don't want to get beat by a rival again. So, it helps me as a coach, because you just got to say we're playing Weirton this week, and all of a sudden, kids were on travel teams together or whatever else going on, and they know each other well, and nobody wants to lose to somebody So that's a good motivational thing for us because you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. Like they knew on Saturday morning, we played well, but we got beat. It's time to get ready to play Weirton. So that helps us a lot, I think.
Right.
But that takes it out of it, a lot out of it, because as a coach, I mean, that's a challenge, I think, to get your kids ready emotionally every week because, I don't care who it is, but everybody comes out flat once in a while. But when you got that rivalry, that does help in your motivation.
It does. I mean, it's one of those things, you look at our schedule, other than really us playing Utica in week 5, a week from, after the Weirton game, everybody we play is somebody we've been playing for a long time, whether it's Ferry, Beaver because they're in the north with us, Harrison, Edison. I mean, we constantly are playing schools that are close to us and in our league with us. So, that's one part of getting your kids ready to play is that nobody wants to lose to any rival, whatever direction it is from Indian Creek. So, like I said, I think we've had a good week of practice so far. I think the kids have responded well. We've watched film, we've gotten our handouts, we put our adjustments in. Yeah, I feel good. I feel like the kids really have bounced back from what I think was, a hard, tough loss for us on Friday night.
How's the team health-wise? I mean, you're coming in things fairly healthy.
Yeah, I feel good. I don't think we, other than the normal bumps and bruises you're going to have in week 3, I feel like, we're at a, our starters are ready to go, and I think we've started to develop some depth. And, I think it's just one of those things. We joke that sometimes when we sub in, we get older because, some of the kids we're subbing in are older kids than the kids we're playing. So you don't really see that a lot. But, I think everybody's, sees an opportunity. I think one of the great things about playing young kids, again, another positive of this, is that you see opportunities. I mean, like, if I'm a freshman and I see a freshman run down the kickoff team, I think, heck, if I practice hard, obviously coach is playing guys that are practicing hard, I got a chance. So I think we've had better practices only because when kids see, hey, I'm not that far away from getting in the game, I mean, they practice harder. So
I agree totally with that. That competition within your team makes your practice is better. Okay, we're at the halfway point here with Coach Andrew Connor from Indian Creek. We're going to take a break here. This segment's sponsored by Everhard Bow Funeral Home. We'll be right back to talk about this week's upcoming opponent.
Got a sidewalk that needs replaced, or maybe your roof is leaking? How about some new windows? Who do you call? Fort Steuben Maintenance, that's who. Commercial or residential, they can handle most any project, big or small. They also do new construction and renovations. So get a free estimate by calling Fort Steuben Maintenance today and get them started on your next project. 740-283-4890 for Fort Steuben Maintenance.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Thanks, Everhard Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message right on our wall or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
Okay, we're back here at Bennigan's with Coach Andrew Connor, Indian Creek. I'm going to turn the page to next week, Coach. You got Weir High Red Riders.
Like I said before, they're well coached. I think Coach Sassine does a really good job with his kids, and the one thing they present on offense is kind of what we want to do. They have two tailbacks that like to come downhill and run the football. They have a quarterback that's very elusive. And again, you can't really chase down the play because you're always afraid that he's going to come back on some sort of, boot or some sort of play where, if you get the chasing, that he's going to make you pay for it. And, they have a really strong offensive line. So for us, it's kind of like playing yourself in a way because most of the things that we want to do is what they want to do. And then, so that kind of helps us in a way. The only thing they do more than we do, we're more of a tackle-to-tackle team. They still run the old stretch play, and they run option, the load option. They try to get on the perimeter, and they got guys that can run, and that makes me nervous because it's the first time really we'll be going against a team that's basically coming downhill, going wide. I mean, the first couple games we had a passing team. Second team, we played was more of a right tackle to tackle. Last week, Brooke ran the buck sweep, but it takes longer to get to the outside. Weirton's coming downhill and downhill fast.
Are they 1-1, Coach?
They are 1-1. They beat Oak Glen in their opener, and then they lost to John Marshall last week by a score.
So you said that they're going to try to run some load option at you. They're going to try to run some stretch play. Are they doing that from more of a straight eye back field, or are they going to spread you out from sideline to sideline, or are they going to mix things up?
They like the pistol, and so when they're in pistol, I think it gives that tailback a little more space because he starts off going wide, and if you over pursue, he'll put his foot in the ground and cut back. they still run, trips, and they'll run some spread, and they like to run the wing. I would give them credit. They do a lot of different things. When I was, going through breaking down the formations and that, I still do it old school. Even though we have the huddle, but I'm still an old school guy with the breakdowns and everything. They present a lot of things. I mean, they're they don't do a lot of the same thing over and over again. They give you a lot of formations, and they want to see what you're going to do. So I give him credit. I think he's made us really work hard this week on identifying formations, identifying plays, and the guys that they want to get the ball to in those certain formations. So, I think we're going to have to really be, alert, which sometimes worries me with a young, linebacker core, that they're going to pick all this up. It's difficult because we do have some checks that we want to run, and I told them, if you're not sure, just go to our base and play good defense.
Right. Now, on the flip side of things, defensively, do they have a lot of guys that go both ways, or do they two platoon things, and what are they going to give you defensively?
They're gonna they do a lot of the same guys, so their guys are tough. I mean, they play a lot of plays, but hopefully we can get to a game where, with us kind of subbing back and forth, maybe we'll get to a point where we could tire them out. But defensively, they like to come. I mean, they're gonna start with a 4-man front, and then they like to blitz. I mean, you'll see them when they're not in that front, they go back to a 3. They bring guys up, and it's going to be tough because we've been fortunate the last couple of weeks. We played teams that played great defense. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't really come at us with a lot of different blitzes and stunts, which has allowed our younger offensive line to kind of get into a groove. As the game goes on, I know where you're going to be, so you could kind of coach them, flat step or whatnot. This may put a little more pressure on them because they've got guys coming from all kind of different angles, and those guys are athletic, and that worries me a little bit. That we're going to miss a gap or miss an assignment, and then all of a sudden you're looking at behind the chains, which is something we don't want to do. We don't want to have that play where a linebacker shoots a gap, and now instead of being 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5, we're looking at something like 2nd and 15, because that's not what we want to do offensively.
Right.
What do you think the biggest factor is, Coach, for you just to take care of your own business moving into this week?
I think for us it's two things. One, we need to tackle well. I think that's something we've been improving on, but that is something that's very important for us because we'd like to do the same thing. We'd like to kind of control field position with Weirton. So if we tackle well, I think it's going to put us in a good position defensively. And offensively for us, it is our development of being able to throw the football. I think it's something we work on in practice. I think we have 2 good quarterbacks, but we've struggled a little bit offensively with us throwing the ball, and I think that comes back to hurt us against Brooke because I think we kept running and running and running. And even though I think Coach Hammock does a great job of different formations and that, run still run. I mean, you can dress it up all you want, it's still run. You know what I mean? And I'd like to see us be able to get those guys that were creeping down that box out of that box. And so we worked really hard this week with both of our quarterbacks. I'm not saying we're going to come out and throw the ball 25 or 30 times, but I don't want to be always forced into a position where we're throwing because of what you're doing. I want to be able to throw the ball because we want to throw the ball.
Yeah,
so
throw it when you want to.
Yeah, and I think Coach Hammock's done a really good job this week of, doing some different things, some new wrinkles for us where it'll make it a little easier for both of our quarterbacks to be able to run that offense, to be able to do so. But, bottom line comes down for us, I've been there 20 years. We're most successful when we can run the football. So, we're not going to shy away from the fact that we have, that's our mentality. We want to run the ball and stop the run. So, for us, a good day for us would be to throw the ball 10 times, complete about 6 of them, be able to run the football and defensively not give up big plays and be able to tackle in space. That would be the game plan for us.
Yeah. Sounds like a good one. We wish you the best of luck here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you.
High Valley Sports Online, live from Bennigan's.
Thanks, buddy.
Andrew Corner,
Thanks,
week
buddy.
3. Right,
Thanks,
buddy, go get him.
Thanks, buddy.
We'll be right back with Coach Josh Frankie.
Everhart Bow Funeral Home, they believe you should take care of your loved ones while you still can. Pre-planning at Everhart Bow ensures that your family won't have to worry about the stress of final arrangements during this most difficult time. More importantly, they won't have to worry about how they'll pay for it. Visit Everhart Bow Funeral Home today and discover all the affordable options available. Everhart Bow Funeral Home, Wintersville, Richmond, and Burgolds.
Want to become a sponsor of this online sports broadcast? It's easy. Look us up on Facebook under Ohio Valley Sports Online. Drop us a message, write on our wall, or shoot us an email. More bang for your buck. Why? Because it's not radio. It's an online internet sports broadcast with unlimited and endless potential for you. Why settle for less when you can advertise with the best? Ohio Valley Sports Online.
The game is over. But this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Thanks, Everhart Bow Funeral Home, for sponsoring Indian Creek head coach Andrew Connor on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. Thanks, J.E. Foster Funeral Home, for sponsoring Toronto Red Knights head football coach Josh Frankie on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show. This high school event is brought to you by AT&T on Sunset via the AT&T Wireless Network. Remember, don't text and drive, it can wait. AT&T on Sunset is a proud sponsor of this high school event.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So, where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again.
Okay, we're back here at Bennigan's Coaches Show. This is Ray Suckarch, joined by Jason Jenkins and Toronto's head football coach Josh Frankie. So this segment's brought to you by J.E. Foster Funeral Home. Coach, how'd this past week go? Tell us everything.
It wasn't bad. Came out against Lisbon. They actually, we didn't start off too great. They returned the opening kick for a touchdown. So right out the gate, they were up 7-0. But that was kind of the first adversity we've really seen all year, so it was kind of a good thing. See how the kids would respond to that. We end up rattling off 42 points, and going into the fourth quarter, it was 42-7, and we kind of put the young guys in and let them play the fourth quarter. So, again, not how you want to start a game, but when you only have 2 seniors on your team, you have a lot of young guys that are learning, and I think last week's lesson was, you got to come out ready. No matter who you play, you got to be ready to play, or they can get up on you quick.
You always get me, Coach, because that was going to be my first question, and you got me.
You too, man.
The adversity question, because I knew
you too.
They had ran the opening kickoff back,
Right.
and just when. And it seemed like, you guys, like you said, handled it very well. What was the key to that?
To be honest with you, it was a battle the first quarter. We came back after the opening kickoff, and Zane Kinsey broke one of his 60-yarders for us and got us on the board. But that's what you want to see from one of your leaders. You know what I mean? He's one of the 2 seniors on the team, and we've had a lot of conversations with our 2 seniors and some of the other guys that we see as leaders is like, hey, when things start to go wrong, there needs to be somebody that changes the momentum. Somebody has to step up. And you don't have to yell, you don't have to scream, but you got to make a play to change the momentum. And he did that for us. So it's, listen, we're really happy to have Zane. He's obviously an incredible player, but he is a great leader. He is not one of those guys that are going to scream and yell. He leads by example through a lot of things he does.
Got to see him play baseball with the younger Kinsey. And Toronto had some young baseball talent.
Right.
A lot of youth
yes.
in the Valley
yes.
this year with a lot of teams. And with that comes mistakes.
Right.
So everybody's going to make a mistake, but I think the key is how do you respond after you make that mistake?
Correct.
So how's your kids doing in that category?
You know what? Listen, we actually have on our kickoff team of the 11 guys on our kickoff team, 9 of those guys are freshmen. So
wow.
We have a lot of young guys that are playing on that kickoff team. And again, they've done great the first 2 weeks. They shut down Isaiah Greathouse. We kicked at him 3 or 4 times, and he's an incredible athlete. And they just they got out of their lanes and. Yeah, yelled out a little bit on Saturday morning. It was kind of as a freshman, it was your first time the head coach is jumping you. But, hopefully that lesson's been learned. We're not going to shy away from we believe that we have a lot of young talent, like you said, and we're not going to shy away from getting those kids experience because it's going to reap benefits down the line. As we're seeing right now, we played a very young team last year, and those kids are having a lot of success because of the time they saw on the field.
What was the key to not letting them fall into the hype of, you're 3-0, they're 3-0, big game, and you could easily get, like I said,
it's one of those things that, it's almost like parenting. And, you want to see your kids achieve and do really well, but you don't want to see them get too arrogant. So, to counteract that, we have to constantly be telling those guys that you're not as good as what you think you are. And that's
get better.
Film session after East Palestine was pretty hard. There was a lot of mistakes. So we did a lot of yelling, and I think that's part of it. I feel like you got to be harder on the kids after you win a game than when you lose a game because you can learn a lot from winning. And if those kids know we won and we still messed up or we still didn't play good, they tend not to get too high on their own supply, I guess. And it's one of those things. I think our kids, I think the kids you coach value your opinion as a coach more than they do the public opinion.
Right.
And if the coaches are saying, "Hey, you guys aren't as good as what you think you are," they're going to be more likely to believe that from a coach than believe somebody on the outside saying, "Oh, you guys are really good." The coaches are there every day. So. I try to coach my 2 girls in sports, and they don't listen to me for anything. So they always want to listen to the coach. But if the coach says something, the coach is right. So I think our coaches do a wonderful job of making sure these kids know, hey, you're incredibly talented. You're talented. You're incredibly gifted. You have the potential to be a really, really good football team, but you're not there yet. And continue to preach that.
I agree with you on some of those points and the fact of I think it's always tough for a coach to battle the outside forces.
Oh, yeah, the rat poison, yeah.
Whether that poison comes from the man on the corner, or whatever it is, however it gets back to your kids. I appreciate you saying that because that's a feat that no coach can step away from or shy away from because you got to keep it real with your kids, I believe. I mean, you want to stay positive, but you got to keep it real.
Right, absolutely.
I used to always say when in coaching, it was girls softball, like you said, and I would tell the girls, you know what one of the biggest killers of a winning streak is? Complacency.
Mm-hmm.
When you're happy with what you're done and, you think that, like you said, you're better than you are, well, that's when your first defeat's coming.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's you just can't let off the gas pedal. You can't be happy with where you are, and that's something we really push our kids to embrace. Our kids have big aspirations, a lot bigger aspirations than being 3-0, a lot bigger aspirations than beating 2 D7 and 1 D6 school. And in order to reach the goals that we need to reach, there's still a long road ahead of us, and they need to be focused on Buckeye. Look, we've stressed a lot that at this point last year we were 2-1 before we fell into a 4-game losing streak. So I fell into a 4-game losing streak starting this week, and hey, that's one of the things we've been preaching. Hey, you're 3-0, but guess what? This time last year, you're 2-1, and you went to a 4-game losing streak, so things can turn very quickly.
They always do. Okay, this is High Valley Sports Online here. We'll be back in just a minute. Finish up with Coach Frankie, talk about this week's opponent.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Thanks to J.E. Foster Funeral Home for sponsoring Toronto Red Knights head football coach Josh Frankie on the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show.
Okay, we're back here for an extended second half with Coach Frankie. Jason Jenkins, all of a sudden, he's in charge. Me and Steve Daniel we were doing a great job.
No, Coach, we got to go. I wanted to go over because, like you said, they came out, scored 7 points right off the bat. The next thing you know, it's 42-7. Your defense, that's why I wanted to talk about what, how did you shut this team coming? They're high 3-0. How did you shut their offense down?
I think we gave up 139 yards their offense. It was just one of those things where our defense has a lot of team speed, and you'll be able to get our linebackers to get downhill, play edge to edge. They ran a lot of sweep plays, jet sweep fans. They ran a lot of sprint out passes. We ended up drawing up a pretty nice blitz into their sprint out game. And shut that down pretty quick. And, any time that you're trying to run the edges on us, we have the speed that we're going to beat you. So I think it had a lot to factor into it. Obviously had a lot of sacks. I think we had 4 sacks that game. You know, and that's just our defense is playing really well right now, and it's just because of the athletes we have on the field.
That's awesome, Coach. And I mean, like I said, Lisbon coming 3-0. I was really excited about seeing that game, and you just completely took over. Can you tell me some of the guys are stepping up on the defensive side?
You know, young crew. I mean, we have Spencer Board. He is a backup tailback for us. He starts fullback for us on the offense, but he's 5'7". He's a little guy, but you know he's very quick off the line of scrimmage. And you get some bigger linemen trying to block him. He can give him fits. He usually gets past them, so he kind of creates some disruption. We have 2 freshmen that are playing really well too. Landon Jaworski and Heath Thomas have been putting in some really valuable minutes on the defensive line rotation. They're creating a lot of havoc back there. Caden Benton, you know, we had Miami, Ohio reach out to him. Ohio University's reached out to him. He's 6'7", 260.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Big extended reach. So, you know, he plays that defensive tackle. It's hard to get into him. He usually gets his hands into you first and, you know, can just kind of rip you right off him and make a play. So, and then our linebackers are, you know, you have Andy Silverthorne, Zeb Kinsey. They're both 2 guys that Division I schools are looking at. Just incredible athletes, and Seth Thomas is, you know, he's your old school prototypical downhill linebacker. Just wants to, you know, punish people and hit you in the mouth. So he's kind of playing in the middle, and then you know you have 2 Division I recruits at corner. You know, you have Don Boucher and Zane Kinsey. So you kind of shut down the edges there with those 2 guys. But I tell you, Russ Dickinson and Nolan Dickinson have played our outside linebacker position probably better than anyone else has played their positions this year. Those 2, they set the edges of our defense. And, you know, if you can get the edge on a defense, you can have some success. And those guys are they're high football IQ players. They're able to get in the proper position, play the proper technique to make sure that nobody can get outside of them. And that's, you know, it's rare that you get high school kids that are, you know, so football savvy that they're able to set themselves up to be in position every time, and that's where Russ and Nolan are. I mean, they're big football fans. They're high IQ kids. They're always in position to make the play, and that's important for our defense to be able to set that edge.
I'm just trying to stay out of the way, Coach. You know, I'm trying to stay out of the way, man. I don't want to overstep my bounds.
No, you're fine. We'll talk about it. But no, then can we take one more 30-second break, and then we'll be back to talk about next week's opponent, the who is it?
Buckeye Local Panthers.
Yeah, I was going to say Edison. I knew it wasn't them.
At least you made me laugh, Jakes. I appreciate that.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, well, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Ohio, in almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
And we're back here at Bennigan's. It's Ray Suckoff just assisting Jason Jenkins, the Coaches Show. Coach, this week you got Buckeye Local coming up. Tell us a little bit about them.
They're big. Obviously they're a Division IV school. They have just under 60 kids on their roster. They big line. They're big physical up front. They run a whole plethora of different offense formations. They'll be in double wing. They'll be in wing T. They'll go, spread you out with tight end to one side, 3 receivers to the other side. They'll run two back shotgun. They'll run the pistol with an offset back and try to run some power. They give you a little bit of everything, so it's definitely going to be our defense is definitely going to have to be prepared for that. They have some big backs. They want to get downhill, run with those backs. Obviously, Trey Hoover's back for another year, and then Skylar Ebrate returns at quarterback. He's a pretty athletic quarterback. He beat us with his legs a little bit last year. They have another kid, Palmer. It's his first year playing, but he's got some athleticism to him. He's a big kid as well. So they're big. Typical Buckeye Local team. They want to ground and pound you and beat you up a little bit. So we got to be ready.
You're Division 7. You're playing a Division 4 school. The points will matter at the end. I guess it's going to be a lot easier for everybody to get in the playoffs, but this is definitely a big point game for you.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, that's not anything that we shy away with our kids. We tell them, hey, not only is this a big point game for the playoffs and to be able to get a good seed in the playoffs, but this is a big point team or a big point game for, an OVAC title, because you get the bonus points for the OVAC team, but you also get certain level points for how big of an OVAC opponent you're playing. And, they're a bigger school, and this is a big game overall. So, this is a good test for us. We like to kind of sprinkle into our schedule bigger schools that we know are going to prepare us to play some of the more competitive teams in our region and when we get to the later rounds of the playoffs. And I think that's by design. Our kids embrace that. Ultimately, that's the goal is to advance through the playoffs. So you want to play the teams that are going to prepare you to do that. Listen, to go 8-2 would be great. Go 9-1 would be great. Go 10-0 would be great. And I think every kid wants to do those things and have those aspirations. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're prepared the best you can be prepared for when you meet some of those opponents in the playoffs.
How's your kids approaching this week? Has the practices been any different?
You know what? We're starting to get into that mid-season form. So Monday was a big install day. Any new plays we're putting in, our defensive alignments to their formations, we kind of focus on that. But we try to lay off the pounding, especially when you have 28 kids. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to make sure everybody's healthy. Yeah.
Yep.
So then Tuesday and Wednesday were more practice days. Wednesday is our situational day. So we focused on like third and long, third and medium, third and short, our 2-point plays, goal line defense, all of that stuff. Our special teams, we get in this today, and then tomorrow we'll go through our walkthrough and fine tune everything. So. At this point, going into week 4, if you still have questions on blocking schemes and formations, how we're aligning, we're in trouble anyway. So we want to fine tune things and make adjustments, and again try to take it more easy on our kids. So listen, we've been preaching all week. Buckeye Local. They hadn't won a game last year. Going into this game, they were 0-3. We were 2-1. I think the kids came out, took it very lightly, and thought they were going to win this game. And they were up on us 15-0 with I think it was like 9 minutes in the first quarter. They came back, were kick return, ended up scoring, and then they onside kicked it, got it, and then they scored again. And just like that, we were playing from behind. So. We've been preaching about that. We've been preaching about the slow starts. We've been preaching about, hey, this team, they want you. They think they could beat you. They think you're better, or they're better than you, and they ruined your season last year, put you in that losing streak. So just keeping that on the mind of the players, make sure we're not going to come out slow Friday.
Coach, one thing that you do, I like, there's 2 different mindsets. Some coaches don't even mention playoffs. But I like the fact that you let them know, and especially now with the 16-team format, if you get 2 wins over Division IV schools, and you might possibly have 2 home games.
Right.
And that's huge. And I know the kids, and I know the town of Toronto loves that.
Right. And listen, I mean, we do not. Listen, I wanted to be a motivational speaker when I was in college. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go be a motivational speaker. And, I was always reading about motivational things. I'm big into motivational videos and listening to other speakers. But one of the things that I've taken away from some of those speeches and lectures is, if you want to achieve goals, if you have goals and you want to achieve those goals, you need to write those goals down somewhere where you're going to look at them every single day. Well, I can't make my kids do that. But what I can do is I can tell my kids on a daily basis and remind them of what their goals are. If our kids were talking about, like in January, starting January, we're doing the 6 a.m. liftings. We're talking about, hey, it's been 22 years since we won an OVAC title. Hey, last year you had to play an away game and you were not a top seed in the playoffs. We talk about those things and we keep it on the minds of our players every day. Like we had to talk before we left practice today. You guys have all of the tools. Some people want to shy away from, don't talk about 10-0. Why?
Right,
Why not? Like if that's what those kids want to do, if that's one of their goals, remind them of their goals. Remind them of why they're showing up to practice every day. Remind them why it's important to put in the effort every single day. Remind them why it's important to achieve well academically so they're eligible for the playoffs. Like remind them on a daily basis what their goals are. And if their goals are 10-0, an OVAC title, and a high seed in the playoffs, listen, you might not reach all those goals, but guess what? You're going to come pretty close, because that's what you're striving at. That's why show up if that's not what we're trying to do.
Right. I love what you're talking about, the motivational factor. I bought into that as a young coach, and I used it the best I could. As a matter of setting short-range goals to achieve your long-range goals.
That's why, because he coached me. That's how I see.
And that's very important. So whenever you say that you wanted to be a motivational speaker, I could give you some great books on that because I was totally into that, and I still believe that. I believe that no matter what you do in sports or life, you got to have short-range goals. Right. You got to have long-range goals. But, Coach, you got to have realistic goals, man.
You're right.
You got to know what you're capable of. So, and a good man always knows his limitations. So, that's John Wayne speaking.
Yeah.
But, Coach, this Hoover, I thought he was their one and only threat. So you're telling me that Buckeye Local can hurt you in some different ways, huh?
Yeah. Listen, they're not a prolific passing team, but they don't try to be. They want to pound you out, beat you in the fourth quarter. They run all different types of things. They'll get in that double wing, they'll run their jet sweeps, and they'll get in the wing tee, they'll run their fullback traps and things of that nature. Then they'll get in the shotgun, and they'll run some QB read and have the quarterback pulled on the counter. And again, he's fast and he's a change of pace. Once you get those bigger guys that just like to pound on you and beat you up, and then you get the quarterback pulls it and he's got speed to him. It's just a change of pace. It you change your angles a little bit defensively, and you gotta be ready for that. So we fully prepare. Listen, we know that we have a dynamic offense. They know that we have a dynamic offense. We fully prepare or are prepared for them to come out, get the ball, and try to sustain drives, keep our offense off the field. I believe that they feel like if they can get 3 or 4 yards of play on us, they'll drive us all the way down the field and keep our offense off the field and give them a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. That has to be their game plan. It has to be their strategy. We've been preaching to our defense all week that is what they're going to try to do, and you got to be prepared to stop it.
What about, Coach, defensively, what do they throw? What kind of defense do they run?
It's they opened the season at 3-3, and I don't think it's been too great for them. So they've gone now to a 4-2-5. So, could they jump into a 3-3? They could, but we fully expect to see that 4-2-5 just because of how heavy of a run team we are. They have a big defensive line. They have they kind of mix it up. They got some bigger defensive linemen, but then they have one of their tailbacks playing defensive end. He's really quick off the edge. You obviously have Hoover and another bigger linebacker in the middle. They try to funnel everything down into those guys. So, and then they'll give you a mix of coverages over top. They want to play a little bit of cover 3. They'll play a little bit of man. Then, they'll go 2 high safeties, play like a quarters read look. And then, you also get them in trips. They're going to give you they'll man up on the outside and they play quarters to the 2 inside receivers. So, they give you several different coverages our quarterbacks are going to have to be prepared for and be able to read. But, again, I don't think there's any secret to what we do. We like to get our athletes in space, and we think our athletes are going to make your guys miss, and that's what we're going to stick to.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Special teams wise, any wrinkles or anything? I don't want to give away your game plan, but they do anything? Have you seen anything from them in the first 3 games that
Not really. I think every week it's a question on whether or not they're going to kick it deep or not.
Well, it shouldn't be, but
you have Balsher back there, you have Kinsey back there. We've kind of had to go to get a little creative on kickoff return, where we've had to disguise those guys a little bit, so the kickers can't really directionally kick. You never know where those guys are going to line up. But outside of that, they're not going to do anything special. I think they have a unique but effective punt unit. It's one of those spread punts, college spread punts. So we got to be prepared to line up to that correctly. But other than that, again, nothing too crazy.
You happy with where you're at, Coach, after 3 games, other than obviously your record, but I'm talking about the progress of the kids and everything.
I don't, I think a good coach is never happy. And I think that's like, I think that's why I coach. My dad constantly, it don't matter if we won or lost, my dad was always telling me, in the car ride home, like what I could have done better, like where I messed up, what I did wrong. And at the time, growing up as a kid, like that, you think, I can never make him happy. But, looking back at it now as an adult, I understand what he was doing, and that's kind of like where I guess I get that as a coach is, that's why I coach. It's like you can always be better. You can always do things better. You can always, I think you're striving for perfection. You're never going to reach it, but at least you're striving to get there. And I think that's an important thing in coaching. And, so am I happy where we're at? No, I think we're only just scratching the surface of how good we could really be. So, again, I guess it's just that never satisfied mentality and attitude that and hopefully the players embrace that too. I think if you ask them, I don't think they would be happy with where they're at yet either, and would tell you that they have a lot to improve on as well.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time once again, and look forward to talking to you next week at a 4-0.
Let's hope, man.
Toronto Red Knights.
Let's hope.
Coach Josh Frankie, sponsored by J.E. Foster Funeral Home, the Toronto Red Knight portion of the Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. We'll be back. Coach Eric Meek from Steubenville Catholic Central right after this. Coach, good luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys.
The J.E. Foster Funeral Home has been proudly serving the communities of Toronto and Smithfield and all of Jefferson County for over 30 years. They are a family-owned funeral home, and they offer funeral and cremation services tailored to meet your needs, and they do so with professionalism, compassion, dignity, and respect. Jeff and Jay Foster would like to wish the best of luck to Toronto Red Knights and all of the teams up and down the Ohio Valley. If you or someone you know would like more information on how their family can help you guide your family in this time of need, please visit their website, www.jefosterfh.com. That is www.jefosterfh.com. Their motto, our emphasis on family, carries over to yours. J.E. Foster Funeral Home, a proud sponsor of the Coaches Show.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Ohio's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
A Pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too. Only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service. And the number to call? 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's. Thanks a lot for following us at Ohio Valley Sports Online. Why not visit our webpage at ohiovalleysportsonline.com. It's the way to go for sports fans around the globe to follow your favorite local sports teams.
And we're back here live at Bennigan's. Jason Jenkins, Steve Daly, Dan Vogel is always making things happen. And we're with Coach Eric Meek for the Steubenville Catholic Central portion, brought to you by our host restaurant tonight, Bennigan's. Coach Meek, always a pleasure to see you.
Great to see you guys, and great to also see Steve for the first time.
Oh, yeah, he keeps us going.
Right, right.
I fill in here and there.
Yeah, Steve, and now we've got Ashlyn. That's something she's right, just like Steve. Does a fantastic. She did volleyball. We ventured into volleyball.
Right.
She filled in. But Coach, we talked a little bit before we came on air. Not the score you wanted, not the results you wanted, but the kids, like you said, that score was not indicative of the way the game was played. You could tell. I mean, they played a very hard-fought, tough football game. Just so happened a little bit of speed. Isaiah Greathouse had a great game.
Sure, and there were times that we contained him,
yes.
and they hit a few big plays, and some things didn't go our way, and I was again real proud of our special teams. I thought our special teams played very well. I was at times our defense was stingy. We gave up, like I said, some big plays, which that's kind of been our Achilles heel. And offensively, we did well. There's my coffee. I got to have my coffee. My wife gets mad. I drink this stuff at midnight.
Oh, Lord.
But, we played with some physicality. We played with some emotion. We didn't back down. And, Steve, from coaching all these years, that's part of it. When you get hit in the mouth, you hit back.
Yeah. Right.
And we did that. And, I was proud of the kids. They didn't quit. And they actually, despite the scoreboard, they flew around at times, and they were looking like they were having fun. And now I just want so bad to get a win and get some more wins because of them. I say it every week. Steve and I were just talking before we came on, and he agreed in his successful tenure at Catholic Central, just a tremendous group of kids. And I'll keep saying it. People may get sick of me saying it, but
no.
I want so bad to win Friday night because I want to see the joy on their faces. Like I said, I've done this a long time. Steve's done it a long time. It's not about us. It's about the kids. And, there's going to be a light at the end of this tunnel. And I can't wait because it's just a great group of kids to go and work with every day.
So, Coach, I asked Andrew the same question earlier. You're through 3 weeks of the season. Do you see one thing that you kind of say like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise, not something I expected, that we would be able to do, or we could be able to do, or what is that one thing right now that maybe has caught you like, okay, this is a big plus?
Well, I'd say after watching the game and then watching it Sunday as a staff and then Monday with the kids again, that the gang tackling, there were times that we would freeze the screen, that big screen, and we'd say, look, there's 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. Now, we did not see that weeks 1 and 2. Right. We just didn't see it.
Right.
And so that's something to build upon. That's showing that the kids are saying, you know what? And a couple guys who have had very little experience, and they actually came to us and haven't played where they were at before, I call it the switch, and you know what I'm talking about. Where, man, I've never played football, and I saw one kid in particular take a hit in July. We didn't have full pads on. He's coming across the middle, and I said, "Oh man, he's going to be gunshot." And now he's realizing, boy, it's okay to hit somebody. It's fun. And I told the boy, the young man, I said, "Listen, your switch has been turned on now." And so, it's just a process. We're taking steps. We just need to win.
Right.
But, the other thing is our special teams. We had a disastrous night against Matthews. We didn't play smart on special teams. Like I said, our speed's an issue, but we've played very good special teams the last 2 weeks because the kids have played smart. The opening kickoff against Matthews, it slipped off his foot. We weren't supposed to kick to him. He comes off. Daniel Bolster's done a tremendous job. And he said, "Coach, it slipped off the foot." And then I look at the film, and there's no one on kickoff even in the screen. And that's not good. Right. Well, now we're getting downfield. We're in our lanes. We're getting off blocks. We're not over pursuing. We're breaking down. We're sliding, keeping our bodies square to the football. So there's some things that I see that I do like. We got to get the offense moving, though. That is a concern. Andrew Dorsey, our quarterback, does a great job, but we're right now we have a lack of big plays, and we're going to keep working. But Andrews does a real good job. Andrew as being our field general, but we got to hit big plays on the ground and in the air.
Right.
Coach, just to piggyback on what you were saying, this, I think, was the first time since I've been doing this with Dan and Jags and Coach Neese around before me. We had a punter as our Ohio Valley Sports Online Player of the Game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Daniel Bolster,
he
put there was some.
And that guy over there, Bruce Palmer, sitting with my wife and daughter, there, he coached me before, and I think, Steve, when I was coaching against you,
right,
we did some, when I had Blaze Glenn at Toronto, we did some rugby punting. And I'm like, I'm so afraid to punt that ball down deep because of. And Bruce said to me, why don't we look at the rugby that we used to do? So I talked to Daniel. He's a soccer player, and he said, "Coach, Central got delayed to start a school week because of no electricity, which might have been a blessing because he went down to Harding those mornings and would practice the rugby punting, and he's done a tremendous job, and so is the kids. Tommy Purgie on the right side, contain, and he's only a junior, Daniel. So
like you said, you're a young squad, and like your special teams, you could see the difference from, like you said, the Matthews to you handle another great kid. And that Great House kid on, the special teams efforts of the game.
Yes.
So, kudos to, everybody who's, involved with the special teams aspect of the game defensively. I mean, I know, like you said, we gave up some plays here and there, but like Steve said, what did you see that you liked on the defensive side?
Well, again, I would see 7 guys at the line of scrimmage. They got us a couple of times because the kids were being aggressive mistakes on the count. We worked hard today on the snap count. We said we can't, so the first drive, we had 2 offsides in crucial situations, and give Wellsville credit, they churned 8.5 minutes off that clock and got 6 points. Well, if we don't give up the first one, they punt.
Right.
With 8 minutes to go in the quarter, and we get the ball probably at our 30, and they don't get those 6 points. So, just things that we just got to keep playing and play smarter and just keep getting better.
Right. Self-inflicted things.
Right.
Self-inflicted, absolutely. So, Coach, looking this week coming up, Zanesville Rosecrans, road trip. Okay, now you mentioned you've been, let me see here, you were at home weekend, you went to Caldwell in week 2, correct? So this is your second road trip, coming off of a home game. What kind of team do they have? I mean, are they an experienced team or what have you?
Their line is big, but they don't have the speed that the first three teams on their line, on the line of the three teams. They got a quarterback. They'll run. Their favorite formation is what we call tray right or left, which is a tight end, two flankers, split end backside shotgun with a sidecar. They have good speed. Number 25, we worked the game, and he came off and sat on the bench the whole second, third, fourth quarter. So I don't know if he'll play. But then number 3, a little kid. He's not very big, but boy, is he fast. So their speed at their skilled positions concern me. I keep saying the word speed. You know, they're going to have the advantage in speed again. But I think if we can be aggressive up front and, you know, have that road focus that we need to have on the road, I'm hoping that we can get our first win.
Yeah.
Tell you what, we're going to take a short break here. We're with Coach Eric Meek here on Ohio Valley Sports Online Catholic Central Coaches Show, brought to you by Bennigan's. We'll be right back after this.
A pioneer of casual dining, Bennigan's is internationally known for its unique neighborhood vibe and exceptional chef-driven food. Come to Bennigan's on University Boulevard to stir up a great memory. Come for happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. and get $1 off draft and bottled beer and $1 off signature cocktails. Grab some bar bites too, only $5 from 9 p.m. to close. Hey, are you a soccer fan? Check out the schedule of English Premier League soccer games. Bennigan's even has delivery service, and the number to call, 740-792-8080. You got a friend at Bennigan's. You know, Fort Steuben Maintenance should be your first choice when it comes to any and all construction projects, whether it's commercial or residential. Make Fort Steuben Maintenance your first call. You can rely on them to be the experts when it comes to roofing, concrete, plumbing, carpentry, just about any job that needs done. Fort Steuben Maintenance, they're fully licensed and bonded and will even give you a free estimate. Fort Steuben Maintenance. You want the number? 740-283-4890.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We're back here live at Bennigan's with Coach Eric Meek. Coach, we're talking about this week's opponent, Zanesville Rosecrans, and he talked about, you know, offensively. Are they how do they compare size-wise with you as far as, you know, the line?
Well, they have some their line is decent size. I don't think their overall speed on their line is real good, yeah. You know. But like I said, their skill kids are quick, very quick. You know, they're not the type of kids like Greathouse, who's big and physical and will run you over, and the quarterback. But, you know, if we give them some open area, they'll go. You know, so we got to be very careful.
What about, you know, their defense? Mm-hmm. What are they going to, you know, what kind of defense do they run?
They run a 3-4, and when you spread them out, they'll put, I call them 5 techniques. They'll put those defensive ends and 5 techniques, and the outside backers will go out and they'll play some cover 3. They haven't shown a lot of blitzing compared to our first 3 opponents. But, you know, like I said, and I will say this, they got a little banged up last week. I was at the game. And who knows if those kids will be back. I think 3 guys left the ball game, 3 starters.
Wow.
And most of those guys played both ways, so we'll see.
Right. Now, Coach, do they still play at the baseball field down there?
It's the field right behind the school.
Okay.
The high school.
Okay. Yeah, because I just remember going
there
there
was
years
now
ago.
that you say it, I looked down and there was a baseball field in the end zone.
Okay, yeah, because they at one
Right.
time played on the baseball
Right.
field down there. And the thing that I remember about that, when I was at St. John's, we went down there, how dark that field was. The lighting was not good.
Yeah.
Because you had the lights that set back kind of with the
Right.
baseball field. And then the field itself, it seemed like there was just like dark spots
Well,
throughout it. And I didn't know if they still played at that facility or if they'd moved somewhere else.
Yeah, and if any of the Crusader fans or parents, I just told my wife she may want to take a couple of chairs because there's not a lot of seating. So I said the fans may want to just sit along the side in a chair if the seats are all taken.
And Steve talked about already, this is your second road trip. The first one was pretty decent travel to Caldwell. This one's a little bit further. Doing anything, how do you prepare Friday?
Well, Mike Barber, our athletic director, has got us a charter bus.
Awesome.
And so school gets out at 2:42. The boosters are going to give us a sack lunch in the locker room at 2:55. We'll have a team meeting at 3:15, 3:45. We'll get on the charter bus, drive up there, get off, and go through our stuff and hopefully get that first win.
Yes, and hopefully. And once again, we talked about the difference of playing Friday and Saturday. Right. Is there anything different that you had to do this week? Well, we played last Thursday. So
Thursday. We had a little extra break. I told the kids Friday I was going to have a meeting after school, then we had to go to Zanesville and scout. And I talked to them in the locker room after the game. I said, listen, go to school, go home, relax, start watching Huddle, enjoy your weekend. Let's get ready to go. So they had a little bit of a longer break over the weekend because they had a short week, and then they're going to have a short week next week because we play next Thursday night. So, you just keep moving and you adjust your schedule as needed. And, like I mentioned about this, what I'm talking about here, people ask about the Steelers. I watched literally 15 minutes of the Ohio State Notre Dame game. The score was 14-10 or something at the time, something like that. And then I caught the score. I got on ESPN late at night and found out what the final was. But yeah, it's Steve knows it's a crazy life. It really is. And now he's at the college game, which I did. And you go you don't even hardly get a break.
No,
because you play every Saturday. I at least got some Saturday games, and then I got some Friday games and a few Thursday games. So you do get an occasional break, as far as rest, as far as we don't got to practice today, but you're still working.
Oh, you're always. You said it's never. Even when you want to take a break, sometimes you're sitting there, you might be drinking your coffee, and then okay, we got to do this tomorrow.
Right.
It just never goes away. I understand your point exactly. I just hope look forward, like you said, you have a great group of kids. And it's going to come.
Yes.
I coach with Gus Demar's Big Red for girls softball, and I coach a lot of younger girls. And just you talked about that switch. I used to always say I would love. There's no better feeling coaching is when you've been telling. I'd tell a girl something, and then all of a sudden they get it, and you see that look in their eyes, and okay, they got it. You may have to reinforce it every once in a while, but they got it. They know what you're talking about, and you can see that. With your team, they're
well.
Hopefully,
the key is to move forward.
Right.
Regardless of who you're playing, sometimes you play opponents that are incredibly talented, sometimes you don't. But the key is to worry about yourself.
Right.
And and that is coming out and playing hard every play and doing the best you possibly can. And like I said, I thought last week we played with some fire, we played with some fight, and there was some bright spots, definitely, unlike the week before and the week before that. And
and I'm not, and I never talk down about a kid,
right.
But one thing you did notice, there was between the Matthews game, the big fullback, sometimes he had his way because you took the other kid out of the game
right.
completely, and it seemed like it might not have been the hard physical hits as,
right.
like you said, these kids went. Greathouse came at them. They went right at him.
They didn't back
so
down, and I was very proud of them
yeah.
for that. And it's something we're trying to build upon. And again, I just want to see them successful because they've been great kids since I met them on March 10th.
And it seems like they do whatever you ask them to do.
Yeah, I mean I never. If someone takes their helmet at practice, it happened today, and they kind of put it up like this, I just looked over, and they're like, and I see the kid go like that to the kid. And they put the helmet down, and so that's good.
Right.
You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have. It's just they're wonderful kids to be around. We want to win. That's what we want to do now.
It's coming.
Right,
well, Coach. I know you guys had a few injuries earlier in the year, especially. I know you lost the Fallon boy,
right,
and so on. Are all those kids back?
We
and
have
now,
we have pretty now. We lost Deshaun Sedditz for the season, which is very sad. A senior, and Don Mascio for the season. I have a boy that's been out of freshman since day one, but he'll be back soon. Okay. And then all of the other guys, except for one, are back this week.
Okay.
So
good.
I'm planning on dressing 27 kids Friday night.
Good. That's good here.
And hopefully in another week, if everything stays healthy, we'll be back up to 29. Like I said, Dom and Deshaun won't be back, which is sad. But
right. Well, you are seeing some kids, step up too. So,
right.
Like I said, you could just see it's coming, and the kids are still positive, they're still fighting, and that's all you can ask as a coach, like you said. Just keep fighting and work to get better, and good things are going to happen. We wish you all the luck, Coach, this Friday night at Zanesville Bishop Rosecrans. Steubenville Catholic Central Crusaders will go on the road. That's going to wrap it up tonight here with Coach Eric Meek and Ohio Valley Sports Online Coaches Show. Thank you for joining us, folks. Join us tomorrow night, actually. Steubenville Catholic Central takes on Weir High and volleyball. Myself, Dan Vogel, and Ashlyn Daly making that call. And then Friday night, we'll be back at Harding Stadium when the Steubenville Big Red takes on Pittsburgh USO. For Dan, Steve, Coach Steve, myself, as always, Jim Jaggers Huggins, who's enjoying us up on the Battlefield in Myrtle Beach. Have a great evening, everybody.